Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Today I bring in Liz Adamson for the first time. Hey Liz, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Danny. Happy to be
Excellent.
here.
Cool. Do you want to give the audience a little bit of background on yourself and the Agility, your company?
Absolutely. So I've been helping Amazon sellers since 2011. So I've been around for a while working on the platform. I launched my consulting company about 4 years ago. It was about a year or two after sponsored product ads launched, and they were becoming bigger and bigger. And I launched an agency to help run those and also help Amazon sellers with other aspects of their account. So we're heavily focused on the marketing end of things, but are pretty knowledgeable in pretty much all things Amazon.
Sounds good. And today we're going to be talking about PPC, but not SEO, and maybe AMG, AAP, and DSP. So do you want to break down those acronyms for us?
Absolutely. Right. So PPC, which is what I'm sure most Amazon sellers are
Yeah,
familiar
I'm
with.
joking about that bit. It's the other names, the brand, the
Yeah.
branded by Amazon. So AMG,
Yeah.
AAP, DSP.
Yeah. So that is, many sellers had heard of the AMG side of Amazon. It stood for Amazon Media Group. And their job was to run what's called programmatic display advertising. So these are the ads that you see when you're visiting other websites and an Amazon ad pops up. There's also on Amazon ads. Some of the ads you see on the Amazon homepage and other places are display advertising. So Amazon Media Group was the entity that was running that, and the platform that was used to run that was called AAP. With all the rebranding that just came out about a month ago, I guess it is now, they consolidated everything: sponsored product ads, headline search, AMS, AMG. All of it got put under the umbrella of Amazon advertising, which greatly simplifies things. And then the AAP platform, which runs the programmatic display, is now called DSP, which is, I got to check my acronym here. It stands for Demand Side Platform,
Yeah.
which is what those platforms are called in the broader marketing world. So
yeah, exactly. The big agencies and stuff.
yeah.
So let's talk through the programmatic. I'll say that again. Programmatic display advertising. Just gives a refresh on that as well.
Right. So programmatic display advertising, it's not a pay-per-click model. It's pay per impression, and so it's a CPM is the acronym they use. Cost per 1,000 impressions is what that
Cost per
stands for.
mil. Yeah.
So you're paying for when they tell you, it's $4 CPM, you're paying $4 per 1,000 impressions that are seen across the internet. Amazon shows ads on its own platforms, including Amazon.com, Kindle, and all the other platforms it owns in its network. And then it also uses those third-party, auction sites or brokers to place ads on places like CNN and ESPN.com. And if you've ever shopped on Amazon and then left to go visit another website, you'll notice that the product you were just shopping for will often appear to you as an ad, and that's the display, the programmatic display ads that Amazon's running.
Cool. So let's talk about who manages this.
Right. So historically, it was someone at AMG, an Amazon manager, and their team would manage it. They still offer that Amazon management under the Amazon advertising department. So you can have Amazon manage those ads for you, which has some benefits. It also has some drawbacks, of course, because Amazon is self-interested. Or you can have a third-party agency who has access to the DSP platform run those ads for you.
Yeah. So your agency is obviously plugged in, so you're able to manage. There is a price tier in order to get in. I think the reason is isn't it like there's a minimum spend before you can get in? So do you want to give us a bit of a guidance on that? Because the outside consensus is that it can be very expensive. Some consider it as a waste of money, but then when you look at the broader sense of these massive brands, who work with TV and are very much about saturation in terms of the branding sense and not measuring the way that we do in terms of PPC and the click to conversion ratio. Give me a bit more background there.
Right. So it is a much more expensive ad platform as in total dollars spent. And the intent of these platforms, the goals are very different, with on Amazon PPC ads, with Google ads, with Facebook ads, your intent there is to drive shoppers in for almost that immediate purchase. With display advertising, It's more about brand awareness. It's more about getting your name out there. It's more about someone saying, oh, I need to buy item XYZ. I need to buy a mattress. I remember Purple Mattress, because I've seen its ads so many times. I'm going to look into them. Those are one of the brands I'm going to start researching. So it can be very good if that's your goal, is to spend that money to raise brand awareness and have a little bit of a longer purchase cycle, where customers may not be purchasing tomorrow or this week, but they may be purchasing in a month or two, as they kind of recall your brand and get to that place where they're ready to purchase.
Cool. And what are we looking at in terms of monthly spend?
It minimum
Of course,
spend.
that varies, but what are you seeing
Yes.
across accounts?
Yeah, minimum spend, and this is a requirement of Amazon. Minimum spend is $15,000 per campaign per month, and recommended spend, that's for one single campaign, and you're going to want to combine that with a few campaigns. And so average spend will get up to $35,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month.
Wow.
Total across a few campaigns. So it is for someone with a larger ad budget, and the return is much lower. You're not going to see, 15, 20, 25% ACOS. And in fact, they measure it differently. It's the inverse. It's ROAS, return on ad spend.
Yeah.
So we're looking at initial launch, that ROAS will often be around break even. And over the next few months as you optimize, it's also a slower optimization process. So over the next few months as you optimize, you can get that ROAS to 2, 3. We've had a couple of campaigns where it's as high as $4, where you're bringing in $4 of revenue per dollar spent.
Yeah, but this is pretty good. But again, this is stuff that takes, it's over time, and then you need a huge amount of data like a data set to work with. Very much like the Google display ads, people would spend hundreds of thousands on that, and people didn't get it because if you're spending a lot lower budgets, you just simply don't have the data there to really work with, to harness, do you?
Exactly.
So talk to me about like the targeting options.
Right. So this is part of what we really like about it is, and this is how you optimize too, is you try different targeting options and have to refine and get the right target until you get the ROAS you're looking for. So some of those options include very simple retargeting ads. And Amazon has launched a very similar beta, which kind of overlaps into this on Seller Central, where if you're creating a campaign in Campaign Manager, you've got that option now for, if you're in the beta, to launch a retargeting ad on the display network. That is a very small version of what DSP does. They allow you to retarget any customer that's visited your product, or you could retarget customers who visited competitor products, and serve that ad up as they leave the Amazon site, so that they're reminded of whatever products they were browsing for. Another retargeting option, and those are the highest returns, obviously, because people are very much in
They're in the
ready
zone
to buy.
now, aren't they? Yep.
Yeah, they're ready to buy. They've already started kind of that purchase cycle. The other set of ads that have been, have mixed results depending on your targeting, are what's called in-market and lifestyle targeting. So in-market are those customers that, based on Amazon browsing data, have shown that they're interested in, I used the mattress example before. So they're interested in mattresses. They've been shopping for them. They've been looking for them, or maybe it's bed sheets, or maybe it's, anything else, cell phone chargers. So as Amazon sees that pattern, they kind of lump them into an in-market targeting segment, and you serve those ads to those people who have shown a history of browsing for this product, or in that category. And then there's the lifestyle ads. And so if you're targeting people with an active lifestyle, or other things like that may overlap with what the customers that your product serves, you can target those. That's pretty much, those are the kind of the main ones we've been using. You can also do lookalike audiences. So if you've got an email list, you can give that to Amazon. Of course, warning bells go off there sometimes, right? But you can give your email list to Amazon, and they'll create a lookalike audience, very similar to what you can do with Facebook audiences and things. So
and is that strong? I mean, the lookalike audience, is it technically, does it perform?
It does. We tested that for a little bit, and then we decided, our client really decided to back off from that, because really his email addresses they have both a direct-to-consumer channel and Amazon channel and several other channels. And so they started segmenting quite a bit more, and decided to back off from that. So we haven't tested that extensively, but it's definitely something that, we want to continue testing as we get that opportunity to test those lookalike audiences and see what kind of returns we get there. They also have an option for website pixels. If someone who visits your website, we can put a pixel on that site and Amazon will retarget them. Of course, there's that question again of, well, do you want that traffic coming back to your site or to Amazon but you can also negatively target that. You can say, anyone who's visited my site, don't show them an Amazon ad.
Yeah.
So you can kind of, you can weed those out and segment that so you're keeping your customers in the channel you want them to be in.
So obviously with this spend, talk to me about the metrics in terms of how you tracking everything and measuring performance, etc.
Yeah. The fun thing about AAP, or DSP, I'm going to pull up my dashboard. There's about 130 different metrics you can be tracking, so it's quite a bit more robust than the Seller Central Campaign Manager.
Yeah.
And you've got to really fine tune, and decide what your goals are, what are your goals, and then you can decide what metrics you want to be tracking. What we track pretty consistently are, we track impressions just to make sure ads are serving. But then another really important rate is the click-through rate, the detailed page view rate. And on average over the last year, we've seen those rates on a well-optimized campaigns be about the same what they are on Amazon, about a 0.4% click-through rate, which is great. And those directly correlate with sales. The more people who are clicking through, the more people are buying, of course. So we're watching click-through rates very closely. We are also watching, of course, total product sales. And we're tracking that against total Amazon sales.
Yeah.
So, for example, if we've done X amount of product sales through AMG, how much of that is, what percentage of that is that of my total product sales? Are my total product sales growing? Am I just cannibalizing? So we're kind of tracking those together to make sure that we're growing sales on total and not just, spending money where we don't need to.
And is there any halo effect you're finding in terms of helping with on-platform for the external traffic?
Yeah, there is. In fact, there was an interesting shift. I want to say it was in April. I'd have to pull up the dates, but earlier this year there was a shift where Amazon didn't used to. The data was almost duplicated. So if someone would click on a display ad, come into Amazon, and then later click on a sponsored product ad, and then buy the product, both the sponsored product ad and the display ad were both capturing the sale in their metrics. Well, Amazon finally decoupled that and deduplicated it. When we saw that, we saw a big shift, and it made us realize that, where there is a bit of a path. Sometimes we see the display ads pulling them into Amazon. They may not have bought that week or the next week, but they're coming back in and buying again, either clicking on an ad or clicking on organic search. So it's really that very top of funnel. Those display ads are just top of funnel. You're getting them interested. You're pulling them in, with the exception of retargeting ads. But, you're pulling them in and getting them interested, getting them thinking about the product, and they may come back.
It brings it back down prior to decision making, disrupted advertising, and then you into the point of touch points. I think Ezra Firestone said it once, is that there's normally 7 to 8 touch points before the sale is converted. So if you are able to harness that, and it's good, I've never used the dashboard, that it sounds like with 100 plus metrics, did you say? There is a review. Yeah. So it gives you opportunity there to really tighten and dial in and harness to make sure, obviously, if a campaign goes wrong, I can see it being very expensive and a bit stressful for you.
Yes, yeah, and it can go wrong. We've had campaigns that we've never been able to get the ROAS above break even, and we've gone for 1, 2, 3 months, and we go, okay, we've done everything we can. Now it's time to close this. But you have to be able to commit to those 1, 2, 3 months of that $15,000 monthly spend, and realize that it's going to take a while before we can.
And I suppose that's an interesting conversation with the client. I mean, obviously some of them get it, so it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They're happy to throw down. They see the value. Yeah. But I suppose if someone's moving on to the platform, I'm just used to coming in terms of paid search. So it's typing in keywords, you've got user intent there, purchaser intent, sorry. And then suddenly you go to what looks like a bit of a wavy well with millions of impressions. And it's like, right, how far out do we see this conversion coming down? And are we able to track this properly?
Exactly.
because I can see the complexities there. It's almost like it's a breadcrumbing, isn't it? And it's coming from all different directions to tying them all in. So how do you tie all these in with your traditional sponsored ads? And have you got accounts where you're running these, and at the same time you've got sponsored ads, you've got headline search, you've got AMS running?
Yeah, we always run all those platforms together. If we're running display ads, we need to be running on-site Amazon advertising as well to kind of continue. Again, it's moving them down that sales funnel. We need to make sure that we're there for every part of that sales funnel.
Yeah.
And so
that constant visibility. So, search pages, headline search, sponsored ads, click through to the product page. You've got the AMS ad with the product page ad. Further down as you scroll, obviously you're going to appear in the sponsored ads, other products as you scroll through the product page. So that's like a complete form of saturation. It warms the eye up to the end user. But I think sometimes what can happen is that people might start to click on it, and it could be quite expensive. So I suppose you've got to get your cost per clicks right. You've got to get that edge between full visibility and obviously the point of conversion of where you're going to get a return on investment, or at least break even.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that continual refinement, both in making sure you're not bidding more than you can spend, but also that you're targeting the right audiences, the right keywords, so that you're not just spending money just to spend money. You want to weed out the ones who are eternal window shoppers and bring in the customers that are really eventually going to purchase. And like you said, for some brands, that could take as many as 7 impressions, across different platforms before they actually go, that's an interesting brand, I should go look at them.
Yeah.
In today's information overload age, there is a lot of banner blindness, and you have to think about that when you're paying for a CPM model, where that impression gets counted, even if only half that ad is showing as they're scrolling. If they didn't even get all the way down the page and half the ads popped up, bang, you just got charged for that impression, and they may not have seen it.
Yeah.
And so you have,
especially the old school ads that used to be down below the fold that no one used to see. Do you remember like the display? They'd be like head what's it called? Like the skyscrapers to the left or the right, and then you had the leaderboard ads. But you used to get the leaderboard ads below the fold, so you generate impressions, but no one's seeing them.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is something to be aware of. That it's such a crowded space. There's so much going on those web pages. You have to have a sharp ad, and you can do custom creatives. You can also do what's called I'm going to get the name wrong. Basically, it's a dynamic ad, where it brings in a product review, it brings in your current rating, it brings in your price, and it shows your product. And Amazon will actually kind of switch out what
they're like dynamic ads, where they're bringing in different information via a feed or something, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So and it will even test out different call to action, like add to cart or different things. So
sounds good. Cool. Is there anything we've missed?
I think we have covered really all the big parts. I mean, really the biggest takeaway is you've got to have campaign goals in mind when you launch these things. You can't just launch it and expect it to perform like a pay-per-click ad on Amazon. You have to understand why you're launching it, what your intent is, and make sure that what those ads can do for you line up with those expectations.
Cool. So what's the best way for people to reach your email address, a bit more about the company, etc., if they want to engage you in your services?
Right. Yeah. So you can reach me at liz@egility.co. Egility is spelled EGILITY. Our website, you can also see it at egility.co. And we provide basically full Amazon marketing services, everything from product page optimization, because of course we believe that before we drive all this traffic to your page has to be ready for that traffic. So we provide that product page optimization, advertising, all the Amazon advertising channels. And then kind of our third main offering is full account management for anyone who's looking to offload, managing their Amazon account.
Sounds good. I look forward to getting you back. Guys, thanks for joining us. Liz, thank you for joining us today. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and then I'll see you again in the next few days. Take care.